if we're going to see a real recovery and see that kind of direction, we're going to have real change. And unfortunately, we have a president today who represents the status quo. His campaign slogan is forward. That doesn't suggest changing, does it?
That's Governor Romney picking up the mantle of change and running with it. Remember, 4 years ago, it was President Obama, then candidate Obama, who said he was the candidate of change. Well, now he's sticking with a stick with who you trust strategy. Will this kind of role reversal work for Governor Romney? Let's talk about it now with Angela McGlowan, a Fox News political analyst, and Marjorie Clifton, former consultant to the Obama campaign and principal in Clifton Consulting. Marjorie, I want to read you a quote from President Obama. He spoke to an audience in Iowa. He said, "There is no more serious issue on the presidential campaign than trust. Trust matters. You know me. You know that I say what I mean, and I mean what I say." Well, he promised us that unemployment would be at 5.6% right now if we pass the stimulus. He promised things like immigration reform early in his term when he had Democratic control of the Congress. Right. Those things didn't happen. So why do we trust this president?
Well, look, what we've got is two candidates who, frankly, on many of their policies, because they're trying to appeal to independents, look very similar on paper. And so differentiating themselves, it's become a trust campaign. And when you talk about flip-flopping between campaign slogans, look, campaigns, Republicans and Democrats, have been swapping out this idea of change in their campaigns for over 50 years. Jimmy Carter was actually America needs a change. And we had Walter Mondale, and he said it's time for a change. And so this change theme keeps coming up and up. And so I think that in some ways the campaigns have become very safe. I mean, you look at the polling, it is so tight right now. And what they think will appeal with voters is not really that original. I love it when you go back in history. You look at Herbert Hoover and you look at Harding, chicken in every pot, a car in every garage. With Harding, it was Cox and cocktails because he was running against a guy named James Cox, and it was Prohibition time. So
you know what? Today is a lot different. It's one thing to walk the walk and talk the talk, and Obama's a great orator. He's a great speaker, and he gives a good speech. However, he's coined the phrase Romnasia. You and I both can agree we've lived in Obama nation for the last 4 years, and the ills of our society keeps running deeper and deeper, and we're in economic quicksand. And when Governor Romney worked with an 87% Democrat House and Assembly State Senate, he had to reach across the aisle with an extended hand, not a clenched fist. So he's actually walked the walk. And I think when it comes down to trust and true change to get us out of this economic quicksand, it's going to be President Romney that's going to make it happen.
It is, Marjorie, it is coming down to the economy, don't you think? I mean, when people go into the voting booth, they're going to either say, okay, I think Mitt Romney can fix this economy, or I trust President Obama, I guess, to do what he said he was going to do 4 years ago.
Well, and yes, you're right. When you look at the polls and when you think about what voters really want, they do care about the economy. It doesn't matter who they are. But what we're seeing in the polls is actually that voters are sort of torn. They actually, on the economy alone, see both candidates almost on even ground. And as we've talked about, and as we're talking about on all the networks, it is going to be a ground game in the swing states. And what happens is a lot of it is just that personal touch with the candidate. It's their connection to the candidate. It is, do we trust that Obama can continue to move the economy forward?
But he hasn't moved it forward. He hasn't moved it forward.
The unemployment numbers have... Okay, so if you go back to where we were 4 years ago, and this is what's been pointed out in the debates, we have moved forward. We are making progress. And the question is, can Romney, given his economic plans, move us forward as well? And so, again, it comes down to those critical voters in those few places and whether and really they connect with the independent.
Ouija board politics will not work anymore. Hope and change will not work anymore. Moving forward.
Well, then Romney's using change then. He might try a new slogan.
But not hope and change, and he's actually talking about what he will do, where Obama is still blaming. And Romnesia, what is that? People want results, and to get the independent vote, people want solutions, and I believe that Mitt Romney will be successful in doing that.
And I think the question is trust in terms of Romney, because in where the Obama campaign is going is pointing out the flip-flopping and the different policies, and is he going to be consistent if he does come in as President of the United States?
Mitt Romney reached across the aisle and balanced the budget every year when he was governor, and he had to work with Democrats.
Well, but this is a very different...
Candidate Obama said that he would change Washington, D.C. as we know it, and our country is more divided than ever today.
And this is something that I think as a country we need to look at, because this is a very different Congress coming into this election, which is, it's going to make it a challenge with whoever ends up in the White House. This is not the same Congress we had during the Bush administration, during the Clinton administration, and during some of our because it does take a unified Congress to move us forward.
All right. We'll see which slogan wins out in less than 2 weeks. Are we going forward?
I want to go back to the cocktails.
Are we going to change? All right, thanks very much. Angela McGlowan, Marjorie Clifton, thank you both.
Ouija board politics. Have you ever played Ouija